Ghanatube so it was your former for snowy my science so atenasibium made some ahodo etwegum the four corners of Ghana bro na interpersonal senior maintenance no mede be wakotie ensem bia ekoso ewo omani na eba na busanfo matwa so amamo.
Coming up next, there's a development regarding the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Torkornoo because the court blocked the former Chief Justice's bid to withdraw the suit against Shining Stars of Ghana. Shining Stars of Ghana is one of three petitions that were submitted against her. You do know that an Ofori's petition is what was the basis for her removal, that the stated misbehavior was established. Well, there are a number of cases that are still running in the court of law. They are active and alive regarding the former Chief Justice. Some running in the courts in this country and others in the ECOWAS court, as we have seen. But earlier today, an Accra High Court ordered lawyers of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Torkornoo to follow the appropriate procedure in withdrawing the case challenging her removal process. Now, presiding Judge Justice Eugene Nyadu Nyateng blocked the efforts by the lawyer for the former Chief Justice to withdraw the suit filed on June 23, orally. Now, you recall the former Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo on June 23 filed a judicial review application asking the High Court to strike out a petition by a group known as Shining Stars of Ghana. Today's business in court is in respect of this particular matter. Dennis Paberiwadam Esquire is going to join me in the studio right now. You know what? We want to get into it. Recall exactly what the matters are at play right now and what the original suit really is and why what happened today. It's a very interesting development and it's good to have you.
Always a pleasure being here, Alfred.
Thank you so much. Now, let's recall, just for the benefits of the uninitiated, exactly what the former Chief Justice sought to do regarding Shining Stars.
Yes.
And why this morning's development is instructive.
So this was one of two suits that the former Chief Justice had before the High Court. Recall all the cases that she had were before the Supreme Court, or cases that were in connection with her removal were at the Supreme Court. But this one is one of two that were before the High Court. The first one has been dismissed. That was in relation to her allegations of violation of her rights, basically challenging the procedure that was adopted by the committee in hearing the petitions. The second one had to do with one that related to one of the petitioners, Shining Stars of Ghana, in which she contended that the entity Shining Stars of Ghana does not exist in fact or in law. And those were the reliefs that she was seeking from the High Court, that the High Court should make orders in that regard, to the effect that one, that the Shining Stars of Ghana, which is a petitioner seeking her removal, does not exist in law or in fact, and that the High Court should make a declaration that the petition to the President allegedly uttered by Shining Stars of Ghana is void on account of the fact that the Shining Stars of Ghana does not exist in law or in fact. Yes, so that naturally flows from the first relief that she was seeking, that to the extent that this entity does not exist, neither in fact or in law, the petition that it purportedly presented to the President, for which the committee was hearing or established to hear a matter alleging some wrongdoing on her part, should also be disregarded because the entity in itself does not even exist in the first place. She goes on to seek a relief to the effect that she wanted the High Court to make a declaration that the purported prima facie determination in respect of petition by Shining Stars of Ghana is now void and of no legal effect. She also wanted another order to bring up to the courts for the purposes of caution and accordingly caution the purported prima facie determination finding made by the President in consultation with the Council of State, and that has to do in respect of the petition that was presented to the President by the Shining Stars of Ghana. So these basically were the reliefs that were being sought by the former Chief Justice, then Chief Justice, when this suit was filed. Will you recall that when this was filed, the Attorney General also filed another process seeking to set aside this particular application? Remember, the first one, which I said was a challenge, was basically on allegations of violation of her human rights. That was dismissed on the account of the Attorney General coming with another motion to set it aside. That was successful. That's to say that the Attorney General successfully set aside or got the court to set aside that particular application. The Attorney General adopted the same strategy in this, filing an application to set aside this particular judicial review application.
I see.
Now, today was for the hearing of that motion by the Attorney General.
All right.
To set aside this particular suit, if you like. Now, knowing what has happened between the last time they were in court and today, it was the expectation of many that a lot of things, including what lawyers for the former Chief Justice attempted to do today, would have been the right route. Because they were challenging the existence of this entity, because this entity had a petition before a committee which was seeking her removal. So now we've got to a point where she has now been removed. So the question now becomes, is it still relevant to still pursue this course of action?
Right.
So many had already predicted that in today's hearing, we would have seen what was going to happen. However, procedurally, there were some challenges. So like I said, for today's hearing, it was for the Attorney General to move his motion to set aside this suit altogether.
That's true. And you recall that the likes of Matic Babu had indicated that to the extent that the Chief Justice had been removed, the other two petitions, that's the Shining Stars and then the Commissioner of Police, those ones should just be discontinued. The 5-member committee should not waste their time on it. And this was on one of the pending two.
Yes.
That's the Shining Stars.
Yes.
Okay.
So just when the Attorney General was about moving his motion to set aside this, then counsel for the former Chief Justice was on his feet. And his prayer was simply that he has the instructions of his client, which is the former Chief Justice, to withdraw this particular suit.
And he did that orally?
Yes, he made an attempt. So when I say he was on his feet too, he actually orally made a presentation to the courts to withdraw that particular suit. However, that was opposed by the Attorney General, who was represented by the Deputy Attorney General, to the effect that procedurally it is defective for one to want to withdraw a suit, a substantive suit in that matter, an originating process in the manner which the learned counsel on the other side wanted to do.
Orally?
Yes, orally.
Procedurally?
He explained that yes, the procedure for withdrawing an originating motion or application is different from that which when you are withdrawing an interlocutory application. So that the proper process is for the process to be filed. So you file a motion of discontinuance.
Right.
So, I mean, there was no debate about it. So counsel on the other side simply sought an adjournment so that they could file the necessary processes to have the case withdrawn. So, in essence, yes, they are on the path to withdrawing it, but for this hurdle, legal hurdle, procedurally, that there was a challenge, they would have withdrawn the case today.
I see. But then, what happens and what's going to happen in the coming days? Because now, what that means is that the motion of discontinuance would have to be filed.
Yes.
By the former Chief Justice's lawyers.
Yes.
That they are not interested in pursuing the case anymore.
They want to withdraw their case. Ordinarily, withdrawing a case should not be a big deal. That's because the courts do not compel parties to litigate. So if a party wants to withdraw at any point in time, they are allowed to do so, except that depending on the stage of the case, certain processes would have to be followed. I mean, if it were in the initial stages, it wouldn't have been a big deal. And like the Deputy Attorney General rightly argued, that when it comes to interlocutory matters, it would have just been as easy as telling the court that they want to withdraw orally. But to the effect that this was a substantive matter, that's to say, they are withdrawing the suit itself, not an application that was made on the suit. So in that case, they needed to follow the right process. But like I said, generally, it should not be a big deal if a party wants to withdraw its suit or an application, except that in some instances, you will do so subject to cost, because you have brought a party to court and you are now taking the case away. You've caused that party to come to court to meet you in court, so that party would have incurred cost. So in that case, cost applies. But yes, that's in the general sense of it. But for this, what we are dealing with now is just for that party, the Chief Justice's lawyers, to file the appropriate processes, and then that will be done with. The case will be struck out as withdrawn.
Okay, so it was a matter of procedure.
Precisely.
Essentially so. But let's see how the coming days will look like on this, because I know you're monitoring the ECOWAS court matter as well. Yes,
yes, we are keeping our eyes on that, because they still have a ruling to deliver, and then also there are also other matters that will determine whether they even have jurisdiction to hear that particular case or not. Thank you,
Dennis Baberiwadamesqua. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And as we keep tabs on the matters of law, you can trust that Dennis would definitely getting to it to consistently update you.
I go and send no about for comments. Comment section. I can kindly na ediamon. Answer na mesa mo se me ka mo se aha Ghanatube so insem bia ekoso ewo on my no onsa ebeka subscribe na hit notification bell no for quick updates see ade makabo.